Today, we are going to look at who is my best and who is my worst performing cards on Sorare. What that means is I'll look at the cost to acquire the card, whether that be a trade deal, whether that be a cash deal. I'll look how many rewards they've won me, how many ETH thresholds they've hit for me, and then I'm going to see how much they're worth now. To get a feel for my gallery, it's worth just under £7,000 with a 16% win rate, which overall I think is pretty decent, but it does depend, if you're winning tier 1s or if you're winning tier 5s. Overall though, yes, it's going to be down in value. A lot of these cards, due to the current situation at the minute, you'll see down 20%, down 8%, down 19%. That's just the state of the market. Because of the economy, because of supply and demand factors, the game overall, most people are trending down in terms of card prices. I'm not going to drill down into that too much in this video. If you do want to check a video on that out, check out this. But for now, let's just drill down into the cards. And I think I'm going to start with a hot one. Lionel Messi. Why it's a hot one? I purchased him for £1,252 2 years ago, September 2021. I've held this card for over 2 years. Thank God I didn't pay £8,000 for it. But overall, let's look at the rewards then. So, only me as the manager, I've got to remember to click that filter. And yeah, he has won literally everything. Obviously, he's a monster at PSG. He's been a monster at Inter Miami so far in terms of SO5. He's the world's best ever player. In terms of rewards, he's won me £2,000 back. £2,195, I'm sure you can read. And $12, or £12, sorry, of cash rewards. So that'd be your ETH thresholds, or now an all-star, they get payouts for, finishing very high up there. But my pet peeve is when people quote that number and say, oh, 2,000, it cost me 1,200, he won me 2,200 almost. What a great card. That's not true. That is overstating your returns, because in order to get that number, you need 5 other cards or 4 other cards, 5 in total for a team to line up next to him. So this number here is actually the number that should be, bolded, in my opinion. So looking at it now, if you do want to know the difference between the two columns, this is value then, this is value now. So in a fair analysis, I think we should be using value then, because whether the cards have gone up or down in value post that, that's really difficult to know. We're saying at the time, if I wanted to sell them and get out, how much could have I made on each card? Then your gaming yield is just how much cash you've won, essentially. Obviously, it's paid out in ETH, or it used to be. Now you can choose to get it paid out however you like. But I always stuck in ETH, and that's going to be the ETH at the time. So that should be a fair analysis. So rather than winning £2,195, realistically, what Messi won me is £534, because I think this is calculated based on, if he put 32% of the score up in winning Jesper, who was worth £41 at the time, that's a net £13. That's a lot more accurate on how you should be calculating it. So looking at Messi, I bought him for £1,000. He's roughly gave me £540 back. So a loss of £800 unless his current sale price is £800. And of course we know it's not. He's currently trading, I think, for about £90, but it is the off season as well. And I won't be selling this card. So starting off with Messi, he's won a lot of rewards, but due to the inflated price I paid for him, not done overall great. After jumping into what was my most expensive purchase at the time, let's jump into Benjamin Henrichs, the current most expensive player in the gallery. Now, I don't know if it will show me acquiring this card, because I think it was made in a trade deal with Pavel. And looking at that, it looks like I've got the better end of the trade deal. Valuation on the day, 313. Valuation on the day was higher for Pavel, which is very rare to see, I guess because of the cash and averages then. Who knows? But essentially, I have absolutely won this one. I've just got rid of a load of, dust, essentially, in terms of SO5 cards. And I've got a Ben Henrichs super rare, who's been absolutely flying. Obviously, you could kind of tell, but he is the most expensive card in the gallery. But we got him for essentially, let's say 300, because you got to take the valuation on that day. So £313 is how much I spent on him. Given the fact his last sale is £828, or somewhere around the £700 region, maybe for an old season card, I think, well, I know already I've done well, £400 profit, but that's not it. Let's see what sort of yield he's returned. And surprisingly enough, not very often, the complete opposite of what we saw before. Only winning 2 cards. But when he is winning them, they're a lot higher value because I'm playing these cards in Rare Pro or Rare Plus as it's now called. I've won both in Rare Plus and Rare Pro, same competition. But when you win there, it's harder to win, but the rewards are worth more. So overall, he's won me an additional £76, which isn't great, but given the fact only recently I've started playing there, given the fact only recently I've started to actually be able to play him as good scores. He used to have really bad average scores. So far, an absolutely huge win then on Benjamin Henrichs. I'm so happy with that. When the market's going down, he's trying to bail me out with good scores and returns and everything else. So thank you, Ben. So next up, we're going to look at my limited Kevin De Bruyne card. And this is an interesting one because it's been a video idea that's been playing on my mind, so let me know if you want to see it. But it's the idea of buying injured players and waiting for them to come back. Is it a waste of time or is it a good investment, but obviously not a real investment per se? Because I bought this fella when he was injured, £53, had absolutely no chance of getting back into the team really, and anytime soon because of the injury, of course. And now he's coming back, £68. So in that time period, I've won nothing, but I've technically maybe made a capital gain of, £18 maybe, plus all the XP I've acquired when I can use them. So in this case, it's gone well. But let's go to another case. Let's go to Julian Agarips-Biliara. World's hardest name to say. I'll just say that, just to caveat that. But I must have got this guy for £578. You can see it here. And he's now worth £100, and he's won me. I thought he would have won me nothing, to be fair. He's won me £62 in thresholds. And an all-star rare competition. I have no idea what's going on there. But regardless, that is really solid for what I thought he'd won. But overall, an absolutely awful performance. Because this wasn't buying someone when they're injured. This is buying a second choice goalkeeper, waiting for them to mature, become a better player, and get the starting spot. Or for Unai Simon to finally leave Bilbao. But it's been a horrific decision. I've held onto this card for, I think, a year pretty much. But what's worse than that is that I also had his limited before that. And that's how I knew how good he was. Can't believe he's not nailed down a first team spot. But this is the other thing which makes it so difficult to calculate. If he gets a first team spot, that could 5x, and then it was all worth it. So very difficult to know yet if it is a good thing to do. I think it's a whole separate video on its own because you have players like El Chad here. Very similar thing. I did mainly buy him for XP. I got the one of, which is another confusion in this video. He's never played a game, but he's starting to possibly get back in the squad, and he's only 18. So you've got to keep in mind also with these cards, these are the results now, but I'm not planning to sell them now. I'm planning to keep turning out, keep trying to get these rewards. When he's a starting player, will Sorare still be about? I would hope so. I assume so, but you never know. So there's a lot of just, thinking going on in this video, trying to, put a couple of thoughts out there. Here's an interesting one as well. What about a card that you won? So I actually won Alphonso Davies. I won him when he was about £220. Now he's about 183. A loss in value, but I got him for free, technically. But you didn't get him for free because you had to pay for those 5 cards that won him and get lucky. So, yeah, you might need a full video on it. What about Yanis Blaskovic? How well has he done for the club? Because he was probably bought at a good time. Now, my Leipzig cards are all going to have premiums on them because I got them very early. Now, that early purchase was to benefit me for the next 2 years. So, again, we're very early into this strategy, but he's a key goalkeeper. He's had a stinker of a performance recently. 43 last 15. Absolutely awful. So, in terms of value, bought for 387, selling currently for 223, about £150, £140 loss. And he's only earned £36 back. But if you own £36, keeping in mind I finished this collection in October, £36 in 2 months, maybe call it free, and you can get to sell the card, maybe it goes down to an easier league. It's not as clear cut as an awful decision because I'm 1/50th, 1/10th of how many games or how many times I will be able to use that card. A really interesting one because for a long time I thought this was the worst trade ever. Alexander Lacazette. Now, I got him in a trade with... Oh, God, that's sickening. Yeah, that is sickening. Value on the day, £1,600. Now, what was going on here was an absolute panic sell. Rui Patricio was at risk of losing his starting role, and I didn't want any of that. Kimmich was too high in value. Bamford was injured. Edouard wasn't doing anything. Wijnaldum was off to Saudi. Volland was going to be awful. So, yeah. We've lost £500 on the trade, so me and Pavel 1-1 at the minute. But he, again, is not someone that we're looking to sell. He might still have a few years, but he is 32. He's at risk of going to Saudi and being valueless. So the more I drill into this video, the more it's just what ifs and maybes. His last sale was £400, but since then he's been putting up nice scores, starting under the new manager. So a little bit more secure of that. I think he might have won me nothing. Let's check. I'd like to greatly apologise to Alexander Lacazette. He has won £337 worth of prizes, but due to low scores, he's not putting up big scores in those games. Maybe he's kind of let me down in that sense. £40 worth he's yielded back. So we lost 500 to Pavel, we gained 40 back. Definitely on the side of a bad trade, at least so far. I mean, I'm hoping now he can go on a run. I saw he's in the Ligue 1 Team of the Year recently, which is just a bit wild. If we're talking about young players that we're looking to hold, again, we have this, okay, bought early for 387, currently worth 246. Now, there's going to be collection bonus in there. There's going to be early XP bonus. It factored into that cost. Currently 246, not playing, but 22 years old. So this could turn out really well. You're just waiting for a transfer. And that is the greatest joy of Sorare. Now, I want to see a card that plays almost week in, week out for me. When I have Julian, world's hardest name to say, Agripsaliala, this guy counters him because he plays every week when he doesn't, and I was hoping there would be a stage possibly where they flip over and both play. So he has won a load of rewards. Now, key here is cash, because he often goes into a cap 240 where you can win, £40 or $50 every week. So 426 or 834, I should really just say this number, about time. So £230 of, returns he's got me in terms of like gaming yield. And then in terms of price then versus price now, this was another trade. I can't remember how it went. Ooh. Now, this is a really interesting trade because this I spent £3,400 on, but I spent that premium expecting a lot of these cards to drop in value. So I think I've actually smashed this because the value now is 254 and the value compared to that is 518. Keep in mind, a lot of these cards would have won me absolutely nothing. Nadal lost his starting spot, never came back. Daley Blind didn't do much for a long time. Courtois is injured. Neres is injured. De Frutos hasn't done anything. So let me know in the comments, is this a win or a loss for you? Because I spent an extra £1,200, but I spent it knowing I'm probably saving myself in the future. I technically saved myself just shy of £3,000 of losses. So I'm calling it a win. Who cares what his sale price is? Because I was in a bad spot. I've made £250, then the £230 of yield. Unai Simon, he's a legend of the club. He needs some respect. That is a really strong performance in my opinion. Now I know this next one is going to hurt, but at the end of the day, Xavi is a 5-10 year hold of a card. So I paid over the top for him. Now, I think technically it's a trade. Yeah, it wasn't technical about it. It was 100% a trade. There was some complications where I tried to buy other people, but essentially lost on the day. I gained £100, but now I'm losing £200. Now that is very interesting. I think any way you look at this, it's been a bad trade deal for anyone else. Why I say anyone else is because I need this card. This is the only card that I really wanted and, the part of the reason for the Leipzig stack. But most importantly, let's see, has he won us anything? Because it's not been good. He's put up such good scores all year, but my bad SO5-ness or my mistakes or the lack of depth that I have, I've not been able to capitalise on it. You know, all of these good scores and only returned very little. So, you know, £13 in yield here, 26 here. So it's a loss, but we're hoping it's temporary. We're hoping when prices stabilise, we'll be able to take advantage of the better scores better. Maybe we go out and get some good supers, because the super rares have been letting us down a little bit. So Xavi, you're letting us down, but we still believe in you. What about one of my favourite players at the minute? Absolute Paulo Dybala. I can't remember how I got him. A trade again with Roddy Boss. I do love a trade. Okay, this doesn't count. So this was me sending an extra £60 to get a new season card to get the XP boost. That was a huge must-do in my opinion. In terms of the actual deal, we'll need to go back to the original one. So fair to say this Dybala, my original one, been passed about a little bit, and I, of course, got off Pavel Trader. Valuation on the day 1,000. Valuation that day 974. How this happened was he was obviously playing for Roma, doing fantastic, and then in a day he won the World Cup. I was like, I've got to get him. I've loved this guy for so long. He's at a team I support, and he's just won the World Cup on one of like the best days of football ever. So doesn't look like a good trade for me, but I would have kind of expected that. And then also the key for Dybala is that none of these really add decent scores. So I think let's just see if he's returned anything. This gets really difficult because I don't know when I traded him away. So he's done a pretty decent job, I'd say. You know, £260, £70 return. He's worth £300 still. We were losing the trade deal about £200-300. So in my eyes, it's all level, and we've still got Dybala to play for the rest of time, and just the joy he's given me. Not something you can really account for in a video like this, but I'll say it's high. I'm gonna call it a win. But where you really make a lot of returns is actually on the lower value cards. Because if you can pick up someone for £8 and he goes and wins you a division, why do I bring that up? Because that's exactly what we did with Lacazette. We owned him for 6 months now. We purchased him at such a good time. We got him for £16. He's worth £16 today. And although he's probably not won many rewards, exactly, he's won £55 because we won first place with Estupinian and Trent Alexander-Arnold as our rewards. I was buzzing with that. Cap 270. So £55 on a card worth £16 that I could sell for £16 now. That's just like a free £55. So yeah, there are some real benefits to it. Let's see if there's anyone else interesting in here. You've got to look at some real big stinkers as well, and I think Verratti could be that. Picked up for £22, and pretty soon after, yeah, so no rewards with him. Pretty soon after, he moved to Qatar. I think it's not even a Saudi league. He's in Qatar, I think he is. No idea why. One of the best midfielders in the world, just, you know, ended his career early. He's worth about £3 now. Be lucky to sell him for that. So that's just an instant £22 loss. And this is where it's all going to balance out. You'll see some huge wins, some huge losses. And I've just thought this could be the worst one yet. This could be the worst one of all time because I went out and got the 1 of 100. So Guindo has come in for £163. Now this was in the Legends, this was in the Limited Mania where everyone was going mad for limit cards. They just come out. He's a rookie card. He's 18. He plays for Salzburg. He's going to be the next best defender in the world. And I really wanted a 1 of 1,000. I just wanted to tick the box and say, I've got one. It looks cool. And he's probably worth £3 today. But you're all wondering, has he won £163 worth of card rewards? No, he's won £10 because he's always injured. There was a stage where he was the best card ever. And then Salzburg, they called him back. They called him back from loan. And I was just raging. First day back in the team, injured again, 6 months. It's the ups and downs of Sorare. Is there going to be another win in here to finish the video on? I've got so many cards that I could potentially review. If you do want to see more of this, there's obviously so many cards. It will just be an hour-long video. Let's dive in and check out Jota. Because he moved to Saudi, but I think he's going to be a winner. In fact, I know he's going to be a winner. I bought him for £22. Oh my God. I could have sold him for £1,150 when he was at his peak at Celtic. during Limited Mania. Currently worth 11, obviously not paying. So halved in value. We just need to make £10 up for it to be a win. And we've made £840. What? I had no idea. You can tell why I fell in love with this card, or this player, I should say, because I'm a Celtic fan. I always has been. And we get a relatively unknown winger from Benfica who is just absolutely everything. He's fun to watch. He's skillful, scores bangers, loved the club. We won the treble. Oh, man. I will get emotional. Like, I had no idea he won that much. And I forgot to say, he was also the best SO5 card for, like, a long time. You know, he won £840 worth of rewards. Do you know what? I will do one more because I've just remembered only one card in the club has ever won 2 competitions, and I mean first place. Okay, so I bought him on the market for £238 because he was a special edition. I paid a little premium. It was just for aesthetics back then. Now you get a little bonus. He's probably worth a lot less because that was close to Limited Mania. So we lost £200 in value there, and I'm expecting a good return. So we haven't got not many rewards as I would have thought, but value-wise, £500. Sebastian Szymanski and Jota, just 2 of my best pickups. So you've seen some of the good, you've seen some of the bad. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's good to be back making some Sorare content. Hope you had a lovely Christmas. Check out this video if you want to watch more of my content. And yeah, all the best to you. Cheers.